Hi y'all, so I know I've been MIA from having a long form video in a while. Basically, October, we went to Hawaii. So then we came back home and I basically was like trying to get my schedule back on track from being in Hawaii. First trimester really hit me hard. So I just really wasn't filming and really didn't feel like editing. I am gonna have a vlog for our Hawaii trip coming up. I just need to buckle down and get all the clips together and edit that. So be on the lookout for that. But today I just wanted to talk about first trimester. So I'm officially at 16 weeks. So I made it past first trimester. I'm not in second trimester. So I was just gonna give an overview of how first trimester went for me. This is my second pregnancy and it has been so much different than my first pregnancy, and I can do a separate video. I did want to kind of talk about my first pregnancy and everything that happened with that, and I'll do a series I think, because I think that will help give more context to everything that's happening in my second pregnancy and make things make more sense. So I have my notes on my phone and I am just gonna go through what happened. Finding out I was pregnant. Week 4 is when I found out. We were in Hawaii and we were there for 2 weeks. Going to the second week of us being there, I started to feel cramps, like mild cramps where it's more like you feel tugging. It really reminds me of menstrual cramps, but they're not like my menstrual cramps are not the same. It really felt like the cramps that I had my first pregnancy. And those cramps I started feeling after I knew I was pregnant. And I remember I found out I was pregnant, I had to go to LA for a work trip. And that whole week I was like cramping, but I loved that feeling because I just felt like, okay, everything is right with my baby because I'm cramping. And I know, and I like looked into it and knew that that's just like a symptom and that doesn't mean anything's wrong as long as there's nothing severe. So it just let me know that I was still pregnant. So I liked having those cramps. So that was basically what was happening to me that second week we were in Hawaii. So then my thought is, it's not true until I confirm it. So I kept thinking about it all week. So my plan was, I was like, I'm going to go to Safeway and get a pregnancy test, because at this point we were in Maui. I'll go there, get the pregnancy test, and I'll sneak and take it and confirm if I'm pregnant, and then I'll tell my husband and my toddler. So my husband drove me to Safeway. I was just like, oh, can we just stop by real quick? I want to get a snack. So he took me there. I went in. I got pregnancy test and I got pog juice. And I came out and I just was like, oh yeah, I just really wanted pog juice. I got that. So then as soon as we got back to our hotel, I took the pregnancy test. It confirmed I was pregnant. My husband and my toddler were like sitting on the lanai. So I went out there and I showed him the pregnancy test, showed him I was positive, and we're like, oh my gosh. And because I got pregnant first try again, and I'll do a separate video about trying to conceive in that whole journey, but because there's more going on the first go around, the second go around I didn't really try anything other than, oh, I knew when I was close to when I was ovulating and when I would be most fertile, and we started trying in October and I got pregnant in October. So, and same with my first pregnancy, like we started trying in June and I got pregnant in June. Once I found out I was pregnant, I went ahead and called my OB to put it on the calendar, and basically was like, oh, I had my positive pregnancy test, and they said the earliest they'll see me, of course, is week 8. So I got that appointment on the books. So then we get back home, it's week 5, week 6. I just had intense cravings for healthy things and salty things. So one of the big things I wanted was a salad, and not just any salad. I wanted a salad with green olives, love those. And then I had gotten some pickled garlic when I was in Fredericksburg. So I was like topping my salad with the green olives, pickled garlic, some mozzarella cheese, some olive oil, and then I put like salt and pepper. And that was all I wanted to eat. Like, that was so amazingly good to me. And I was eating that like every day for 2 weeks. Another thing that I was really craving were eggs, but like a fried egg. So the first time I made it, I realized, 'cause I like my eggs slightly runny, I made it, and then after I like put my fork into it and I started running it, I was like, oh my gosh, no, like I'm pregnant, I can't have a running egg. So I went and like microwaved it hard, and then I from there learned how to fry an egg hard. So I would have every day a fried egg with salt and pepper, and then I loved it on a tortilla, but like a hard tortilla. Like if I could get the flour tortilla like crunchy, oh my god, like that was so good. And so I was having a fried egg like every day for 2 weeks. And then my husband kind of made a comment, is that good for you eating an egg every day? And I was like, yeah, it's protein. But then I realized, oh no, because I'm eating a fried egg with grease, like fried in grease, that's not very healthy. So then I started being like, okay, I'll do a week of fried egg and then I'll do a week of scrambled. But I can only eat one egg. That was the thing too. Like I couldn't eat more than one egg. At some point I did develop an aversion to eggs. Like I could not, I tried to eat an egg one day. I was like, I could not eat it. And it was a fried egg and I just could not eat it. And so entered my aversion to eggs, unfortunately. So yeah, so that was week 5 and 6. I was really into anything salty, a salad. And then I started tapering off with my salads because I didn't want to get an aversion to them or start growing tired of eating them. So then I started eating it maybe every other day, not every day. And then I eventually got to a point I didn't really want that either. That puts me into week 7. So week 7, day 1, I had morning sickness, like nausea. I awoke and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, what the heck is this? I just felt like really bad, and I went and like dry heaved into the toilet, and I was like, I feel like I need to vomit. I tried to vomit and I could not vomit. And I was so miserable. And I'm like, oh, like the thing with morning sickness is that I did not have that experience with morning sickness with my first pregnancy. Like I never had morning sickness. Like first trimester was a breeze. And then all of a sudden I'm getting hit with intense nausea, and I would just want some relief. I'm like, oh, maybe I can just throw up. But I couldn't throw up. And I just felt like if I could throw up, then maybe I would get some relief. But it was just all day nausea with no vomiting. But then I also hate vomiting. I really, really despise vomiting. So I felt like, okay, at least I don't have to vomit. But then there's no relief. So it basically started week 7, day 1. And just every day I would have it. It would be worse in the morning. So I would awake, I would feel nauseous, I would deal with that. I would go drink some water, I would eat crackers, because I started looking into what do you do with morning sickness, and people were like, first thing in the morning, like have some crackers by your bedside, eat some crackers. So I got Ridge crackers, I had club crackers, and I would just eat that like as soon as I could when I awoke, just to have something in my stomach. But then even like another thing too was like the taste of water. I really typically like water, but I could not take the taste of water. Like, ugh. And the only way I can really, and even still, like the taste of water isn't that great to me. But if I'm thirsty, I can drink it. But like I love it if I have a bunch of ice. Like that's like the best way for me to drink water. Whereas before I could drink room temp water and I would be fine. Now it's like it needs to be super cold for me to really enjoy it. Back to the morning sickness, how I basically helped myself with it is that I realized that I need to eat often, but small. And that's something I did with my first pregnancy as well, but more so because my stomach just couldn't handle a lot of food, and my stomach still can't handle a lot of food. So how I would do it was like, oh, in the morning, I'll have like some crackers. Then maybe an hour or so later, okay, now I'll have my parfait. And then, okay, maybe like an hour or so later, I'll have my egg. Okay, now it's time for lunch. I'll eat a little bit of lunch. I'll eat what is normal for me to be a lunch. I'll eat half of that. And then maybe around 2 or 3, like I'll eat the other half. And then around 5 or 6, I'll eat dinner. And then I'm basically kind of done. That's how I basically did it during those weeks to help me. Because I felt like if I got hungry, then I was screwed. So essentially in the morning, I would feel really bad, and then it would kind of dip, and then lunch, I would start feeling a little better, and so that I'd be fine like in the afternoon, and then like by evening going into nighttime, I'd feel like crap again. So it was really difficult, like especially working and like looking at my computer and just feeling like crap. And then another thing too, for me with morning sickness, I had kind of like my breakout, but then there were breakout of like eating times, but then there were also times where I didn't want to eat, like nothing sounded good to me, and then I would start eating something. I'm like, I don't like this, I don't want to eat this. I didn't really want my own cooking. I only wanted stuff like eating out, which was like new for me as well. Another thing that kind of suffered during that time was my fitness. My first pregnancy, I worked out, like I was going to OTF every week. When I wasn't, the days I didn't go to OTF, I was doing Peloton strength workouts, going for walks, runs outside, like doing all those things. But because I felt so crappy and like there wasn't like a good time that I could work out, because in the morning I didn't feel good, I didn't want to do anything, and then in the evening I didn't feel good, I didn't want to do anything. So I really wasn't working out, and that was rough for me. At my week 8 appointment, confirmation appointment, I did let her know that I was having morning sickness, and she asked me if I wanted medicine or anything, and I said no, I was fine for now, but if I got worse, then I would like let them know. The thing was, I didn't want to take medicine because I wasn't vomiting. I felt like if I was vomiting, I would have been more willing to. And then also I was reading like side effects like constipation, things like that I just didn't want to deal with. And I was like, I'll just, one of these days, like my morning sickness will go away. So I just really wanted to do without medicine. So I never took anything for it. I just found ways to kind of manage it. There's only one day working wise where I needed to take sick time for it, and that was like this one day where it was like the afternoon, and I like really, I trucked through the morning, but like by the afternoon I was like, I still feel really bad, and I was like looking at the computer and I just could not focus. I felt so bad, I just wanted to throw up, but couldn't. And so I took some sick time. Other than that, I didn't really need to take any sick time for it. I went through Thanksgiving having more intense morning sickness, and we went to my in-laws for Thanksgiving, and I just felt so bad, and I was like, we're making tamales and doing all these other things, and I was just miserable. And my husband didn't comment to me later. He was like, yeah, you looked like miserable, and I was like, yeah, I felt really bad. I saw going to the confirmation appointment. Essentially, they checked, we heard the heartbeat, we saw the baby. At the time, she said that I was measuring like 7 weeks, which is consistent to when I ovulated. So I was like, okay, but they didn't change my due date. She said it would push my due date later, but like it never changed in my chart. So I just been going with my normal due date and just going with like the regular time frame based on my period. And I still have fibroids, and I still have like the large one in that same area that's like blocking my cervix. I will talk about this in a separate video about fibroids. I cannot give birth naturally. I have to have C-section, which was the case for my first pregnancy, so it's the case again for this. I'm still a high-risk pregnancy. So I'm seeing an MFM doctor. I found out that my MFM doctor that I had for my first pregnancy retired, and I'm so bummed because he retired in June. And I'm like, you couldn't have waited like until next June? to retire, like I always knew there was a chance that he would retire, but I was just really hoping that he would like stick around by the time I was having my second one. But alas, he left, and so I have a new MFM. I was like, so who do you recommend? And the lady that the doctor that she recommended, she said it's like the most similar to my old doctor, that she's very intense and she's very thorough. And I was like, what do you mean by intense? And she basically said that she, in a nutshell, she won't sugarcoat anything, and that she'll basically tell you how it is, and she'll list all the risk. And there's people who don't like that scares them if they hear all the risk. But essentially, that's what I like from a doctor, especially being high risk, is I want a doctor who's going to tell me how it is and like tell me all the risk, and so that I can evaluate and go from there. So from what she was telling me, I was like, I think I'm going to really like this doctor, but we'll see, of course, when I meet her. So she was like, you'll have your NT scan with MFM doctor, you'll have your anatomy scan with her as well. And I was like, okay, cool. So basically everything went well with the 8-week appointment. She was like, you'll come back at week 9 and you'll do the NIPT test and all of that. So then I went basically that Monday before Thanksgiving and I took the NIPT. We got the results back like the following week. And like, I mean, we got them like Monday, and I had the idea. So like my first pregnancy, we did a cake, a gender reveal cake. I got the result. We went, picked it. Well, my husband went and picked it up. At that point, I was on a birthing center. And so he went, picked up the envelope, and then I took it to AGB. And I was like, can you please make a gender reveal cake? And they did that. This go around, I was like, I don't want to do a cake again. I want to do macaroons. So we got the results, but we did, this time it was through Natera. I don't know who it was through like before. And they like send you the results on your phone. We went to the macaroon place. I showed her my phone, sure if anyone does have Natera. So like they kind of guide you through everything as you're like trying to look at your results like the first time. And they'll ask you like, do you want to see the gender and all of that? And then you can say yes or no. And then if you say yes, they're like, okay, it's about to show like now. So then basically I was like going through those steps, and then I showed the lady. I basically was like, if it's a girl, please pick like these 3 macaroons. If it's a boy, please pick like these 3 macaroons. Like I wanted like blues for boy, and then of course pinks for girl. So she's like, yeah. So she did it, and so we just she looked at it, she put everything in a box, we like looked away, and then of course we got some separate ones for the ones that we would like. So then we went home, we immediately opened the macaroons. My husband, our toddler, and it was another boy, and I was so shocked. I was like, what? Because I think, and I'll just say it straight, because of how I was feeling and because it was so different than my first pregnancy, like I was feeling crappy. I would tell people like, this baby's being so mean to me. I also kind of felt like the baby was like almost sucking the life out of me. Like my skin, like I felt like I was breaking out. I felt like my skin was looking drier. Whereas so with my first child, I just felt like I was always glowing. Like I felt like I just looked really great. And so this just felt like so different to me. And I was like, it has to be a girl. And then everyone else, like I would tell about my morning sickness, they're like, it's a girl. It's a girl. So like everyone was telling me it's a girl. I'm thinking in my gut of guts. And I felt like with my son, I felt like my first son, I felt that I was having a boy. I felt it. This time I felt like I was having a girl. And then I think other people telling me like, oh yeah, it's a girl. You're feeling like crap. You're like, it's so different than your first time. I felt like it was like, so many people told me it was a girl. Over Thanksgiving though, I was talking to my mother-in-law. She said that, yeah, like it could be a girl, but then at the same time, it could just be a boy. It could be because this is your second pregnancy, you're older, you've been through it before, like you've been through breastfeeding, like your body's different and your body hasn't like 100% like returned back to how it was before. And I was like, you are so right. Well, actually, no. I was like, huh. But like, I kind of was like, okay, like I took it with a grain of salt. And she was basically like, with her third son, she felt like really bad. Like she had morning sickness and like all these things. And I was like, oh gosh. I was like, okay, like there is a chance it could be a boy. So then it turned out it was a boy. And I was like, wow. Like even when we were doing the gender reveal, I was in absolute shock because I just knew it was gonna be a girl. And I really had to like take time in my mind to like reshift my like expectations and like my vision of like the future, because I'll be frank, and I feel like there's probably people who can relate to this. Like I had in my mind like pictured like a boy and a girl. For some reason, I never really thought about having two of the same. Like whenever I thought of like my future, I always pictured one and one, because my husband and I are very much like two kids. We've always said like we want two kids. Two kids I feel like just fits our lifestyle very well. So I was like, after I have this one, like I'm basically done. Of course, like never say never, but in terms of my plans, like two is a beautiful number for us. So then once I found that out, I just kind of had to like shift my mind. And then once I did that, I saw my future and our like future with two boys, and I got really excited. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna be so beautiful. Like they're gonna be pretty close in age. They're gonna be like about 2 years apart, so they'll grow up with that built-in best friendship perfectly. They'll be able to run around together, play together. I had a certain vision, and once I reshaped it into like the new vision, I was like, this is gonna be awesome. And then also like my son has so many cute clothes that I bought for him. Like I have splurged on a lot of like really cute outfits for him, and I was like, oh, who's gonna get to have these now? Well, now this baby gets to like play with or gets to wear those cute clothes and stuff, and I'm really excited. And now I'm like, oh, how am I gonna decorate their rooms? Well, the nursery's decorated, but like how am I gonna decorate my toddler's room? Like I'm getting like really excited about like decorating his space and just like what the future's gonna hold for like two boys. And the future just looks so amazing, and I'm just really excited. I was week 10 when I found out the gender. Oh, and then for the reveal, we or like the announcement, took photos of my toddler in like this big brother sweater with the oh no, for that we just like told people. I sent people the picture of the macaroons. What I forgot was for the announcement of the pregnancy, because we told our family week 8, because I wanted to wait until we had the confirmation appointment. I think because I am very paranoid about those things, and like the first time I did tell my mom earlier because we were going on vacation and we were gonna go to Chicago, and usually on vacation I like to have like a drink with every meal except breakfast, or like lunch and dinner I want a cocktail. And so I was like, it's gonna be so obvious that something's up if I'm not having a drink. So I told her like basically after I had the positive, like right before we went, and I did these like really cute for my mom and my mother-in-law. I did like a really cute announcement box. I really wish I had taken a picture of one after I finished it, but I didn't. It had like basically some little booties. It had a book. What else did I put in those? It was like grandma wishes. And I had one for my mom and then one for my mother-in-law, but the one for my mother-in-law was in Spanish. I cannot for the life of me remember. I have to ask my mom if she still has the box together. And then like for my grandparents, I just gave them like a onesie, like great grandparents, something like that. And that's how I did very cutesy for them. This go around, we took the picture of my toddler and then we just sent it. But it was really cute because he was the one like giving the announcement. Lastly, I'll go into week 13. So week 13 is when I met with my MFM doctor, and I had like a really good experience with her. I was expecting her to be like harder or like more intense, but she really wasn't. So she basically told me that I have a posterior placenta, and that it's the fibroid is sharing surface area with the placenta. And she said the positive about having posterior is that it's nowhere near like my C-section scar, which that was something I was really concerned about, potentially having the placenta be near the C-section scar. So I was really happy about that. But she was like, you will most likely have another low weight baby. My first baby was 5 pounds 11 ounces. She was like, yeah, it's probably gonna be the same way this time. But the difference was like last pregnancy I had an anterior placenta. So she told me that she wants me to gain like 20 to 25 pounds, which was like consistent with what they told me with my first pregnancy. They basically were like, just gain 20 pounds and you're fine. Because for me, it's very difficult for me to gain weight because I don't eat a lot. Like I basically eat how I ate before I was pregnant, which I eat until I feel full or satiated. Not even full, I don't like to feel stuffed, but I guess full. I don't want to be full stuffed. I feel like for me, the thing with when I'm pregnant is that my stomach can only hold so much food. And I feel like that even when I'm not pregnant, like I can't eat to excess. Like I always have leftovers when I go to a restaurant. I just cannot eat all of my food. I eat until I feel full. And then maybe like sometimes, maybe I'm eating something and there's only like 2 to 3 bites more I need to take. I can't eat it because I don't want to feel crappy and I don't want to feel stuffed. So I eat until I feel like I'm at a good point. I can't stretch my stomach. So sometimes too, it's like maybe I'm hungry and I start eating something, but then I'm like, okay, I can't eat anymore. I'm fine. So for me, that's why it's hard to gain weight. And with my first pregnancy, I only gained 20 pounds. That's all I could do. And then I lost it pretty quickly. From what women tell me, like, because women I work with, like, whenever they're pregnant, like, they can eat. I cannot at all. And I can only eat what I can eat, which is, like, very similar to what I ate before. Like, for example, my Jersey Mike sandwich. I get a regular, I can only eat half of it. I can't eat the other half. Like, I have to save the other half for later. That's me with, like, most things. So, and then even when I fix a plate, I only put a little bit because I don't want to put too much. If I put like a lot, I'm probably not going to finish it. I won't finish it. I can't. So that's the thing with me. And that was how it was in my first pregnancy, and that's how it's going so far with this one. And yeah, so hopefully I can gain 20. Like I have to gain 20, but I'm not going to stress about it because last time I gained the weight, I got to 20. That's what I needed. In terms also, and I'll do a separate video on breastfeeding. With breastfeeding, it was like the same thing for me because people told me like, oh, when you breastfeed, like you're gonna be so hungry, basically, because and you're gonna keep eating, like it's more even when you're pregnant. That wasn't my experience either. I ate a normal amount. I ate my usual amount. Like I didn't eat in excess. But what that ended up happening was that I lost a lot of weight. Like I lost the weight that I got to my pre-pregnancy weight, and then I lost 15 extra pounds. So, and I'm pretty sure because I was breastfeeding, I was still like exercising, like I was going for walks. Once I could start working out again, like I started picking that back up. So yeah, that's the only thing about gaining weight. But other than that, like she said, the baby was healthy, everything was looking good, so I was like really excited about that, and so was my husband, and yeah, so that's where we're at. So that is my first trimester overview. I wanted to keep it short and sweet, but I feel like I went over a lot. There's a lot of aspects of this conversation that I could do like separate videos about that would make more sense to me than to put it all here. But yeah, drop down in the comments if you have any questions. Drop down in the comments if you have any similar experiences to what I'm talking about. And until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.